What's up, YouTube? My name is Brett Martineau, and if you haven't seen any of my videos, or my last video at least, um, what I'm doing is basically telling my life story from my earliest memories till now, or whenever my life kind of calms down with things that are going on. So last time I made a video, yesterday, I talked about my first home I grew up at, or my first home I was brought to after I was born, and I told you a story, one of my earliest memories of my dad, along with an earlier memory of my first babysitter. Now, before I continue this, I want to just say a few things really quick. This is my life. This is like real stuff. This is uncut. This is raw. I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not going to hold anything back. And some of the things I talk about or am going to be talking about, you know, may not be the best things to talk about, but, I'm going to do it anyways. I want to, you know, put my stuff out there, my life out there. So, the next part of this story, I mentioned in my video yesterday that I wasn't quite sure if I was going to share this or not, and I've decided that if I'm going to be honest and truthful with you guys, that I'm going to. I'm going to share um, some more stuff, and this has to do with my mom and not me. My mom passed away last year, well, a year and a half ago, and she doesn't really have any say over me saying this right now. And, part of me does feel guilty for talking about this, but at the same time, I want you guys to know my life, and I want you guys to also know how strong of a person my mom was. So, I mentioned the babysitter who grabbed my hair, who shut the TV off when he wasn't supposed to, and I ran away, and he caught me outside and grabbed me by my hair and picked me up, and my mom caught him and basically cussed him out and fought with him and all that, and they were inside. Well, the part of the story I didn't want to talk about, or I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about, is afterwards. So that same day, um, what had happened is later on, it was probably like, I think 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I went to bed, and, or either my mom brought me to bed, or I was like 4 at the time, 3.5 to 4. So I went to bed, and that night the dude showed back up, and he raped my mom. He forced himself on her while he was drunk, and basically, took advantage of her and fought her and did that. I remember this zebra print rug that we had when we lived on 9th Street in the apartment that we did live in, and that's where it had happened, in the middle of the living room. I didn't know about any of this until, I want to say, I was 13 or 14. My mom kind of came out with it because I was asking why we moved so abruptly, and that was why. She later on told me that because what had happened was, after that day, we packed everything up that we were taking with, except for furniture and like little things around the house, and we just left. We went to a motel, and I said that in my last videos that I bounced from that house to a motel, to another duplex, to the one on 38th, where I ended up having most of my childhood. But yeah, we moved the next day, and basically left a bunch of stuff, and we up and left because she didn't want to be there anymore. That memory had stuck, and she didn't want anything to do with that. And I don't blame her for that. That's a really good reason to leave. And the cops weren't involved or anything like that. And it was a really bad situation. So we left. We moved, not out of Duluth, but we moved away from that area. And basically, um, my mom didn't see him for a very long time. And I'll tell you later on in the story when we get further into it about the second time that we meet this guy and all about that. But yeah, so that's what I didn't want to really talk about, but I thought about it and I just really wanted to get it off my chest, kind of. And if I'm doing this, I'm going to do this 100%. I want to tell my full life story, and hopefully my mom, uh, wherever the afterlife is and stuff, is okay with this. And I believe she would be. My friend told me to, do what I think I should do, like do what my heart tells me to do. And I think that now that she's not here, that she would be more comfortable with me saying something versus when she was here. So she was very strong for having to go through that, especially when she was a single parent and supporting me and herself by herself and having to go through something like that. And yeah, I hope you guys understand why I wasn't too sure about talking about this. But yeah, I feel a lot better that I did say something. But yeah, so from there we moved to the motel. We were there for about a week. The only thing I can remember from the motel was I played with those little army toys, the ones that were like this tall, and they were all green, the green army men or whatever. And I played with some other kid. That's all I remember from the hotel. We moved to the first duplex, which was in downtown Duluth still. It was still in that area. And the only thing I remember from there was I got a splinter one time and the neighbor helped me get it out. Then we moved to 38th Avenue West in Duluth, and we moved into a duplex there. We had the upper level, and that's where I spent most of my childhood, was there. If I remember, if I think about good childhood memories, I always think of that place because that's where a lot of good and a lot of bad stuff happened, but mostly for my childhood's sake, a lot of good stuff happened. So I'll try to be quick with this next part. When I first moved there, I was just about to start attending school, I believe, but I know I hadn't yet. And I met two people. I met my friend Hunter and my friend Zach. I met Zach because his dog wandered over to my yard, and I was like little kid, so I was like, "Oh, dog, puppy, come here, puppy." And my mom's like, "You got to bring the dog back to whoever owns it." And I found out that 2 houses over was my friend Zach, so brought his dog back over, and we just ended up playing some game. I don't know. We just ended up hanging out, and then it was like around winter time when we moved there. So during winter, I started making a snowman in my yard, and I rolled like a giant snowball, like for at least for my size. I'm assuming I remember it being like huge, but I'm not sure now comparing it to myself. But I rolled it out into the alley, and I was gonna roll it back into my yard and call it good, but I couldn't roll it anymore. So this kid Hunter, he came up to me and he's like, "You want help rolling it?" And I was like, "Yeah, heck yeah, dude, help me." So we started rolling it, and we got to a point where we couldn't even roll it anymore. And we tried to cut it in half with some like shears, like hedge trimmers. It was a really stupid idea. It didn't work, but we just were like, "Hey, why don't we hang out?" And I found out that he hung out with Zach too, and his older brother. Like all four of us um, ended up hanging out, and we built our own forts and stuff, and um, played in the woods, played in our yards. We ran all over the neighborhood, hanging out with each other and stuff. But that's how I met my friend Hunter, and that's how I met my friend Zach. And now they aren't too much in my life nowadays, but they did play a big role in my childhood of being like my neighborhood slash school friends, like my close friends that I had. So um, it was nice to have them around to hang out with and stuff. Definitely made like my home life and my school life a lot better. And I think in my next video that I make, I will talk more about, or I will start to talk about when I first went to school, because I there's a lot that you know not bad. There's nothing bad about when I first went to school, like my first few weeks. But in my next video, I'll talk about my first day of school and all that, and how that went, and then maybe a little bit of my first year of school. But yeah, so um, I really hope you guys, you don't have to like, share, and subscribe or anything like that if you don't want to. But if you guys want to hear more videos or hear more about my life, feel free to do those things. Um, I'm going to try to upload every day, and I'm going to try to do the best I can of making a timeline so that I'm not skipping so much. I'm trying to just make one timeline. So I hope this video helped complete yesterday's video and lead into each other. So let me know if you guys think I made the right decision by talking about what I talked about in this video. It is a really serious situation. It's a really serious thing that happened. I just felt like it's something that I should bring up because it is a vital part of my life. It's something that affected my life too. Not as bad, not even close to as bad as my mom's life, but if I'm telling my life story, is a part of my life story too. And I hope that you guys understand that I'm not sharing this to be mean or anything like that to my mom, because that is the last thing I want to do. I just want to tell this story, and I believe that if she was still here, that she would 100% be okay with me telling this story. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is my life story. Brett Martineau. Peace out.